I want to talk about location-based services. You know, Gary, you invested in Gowalla. I just read a study. It just kind of stood out to me. It said only 4% of U.S. online adults have actually even used location-based mobile apps. You invested in Gowalla. Do you think that these are a short-term fad, or they actually have lasting power?
I think 4% is huge. I remember how I was reading everybody saying like, oh, only 4%. I was like,
it's a lot of people.
It's like, first of all, they surveyed 5,000 people, but you know that's a whole nother thing with the math of all that. That is a crap load of people. Like, I don't know, like ding dong, like is anybody paying attention? This stuff is just starting. I mean, location-based services are like 2 years old in any kind of practicality. Most people don't have smartphones. Do you know what the number of smartphones is gonna look like after this holiday season? And more importantly, once people realize they can save money by checking in on Facebook Places, and they figure out the math in their head that if I save $1 on a piece of pizza, eventually it's gonna pay for my smartphone.
I mean, and are people gonna do that? Are people actually gonna move into social media?
I think social inducement is definitely going to happen. I don't see why somebody who, coupons win. They've been around for a long time. That is definitely going to happen. Gaming mechanics are clearly showing their merits at some level. When people are so all in on Farmville that they're going to run to 7-Eleven and buy 80 products to get points to win virtually, you're seeing those things. Listen, back in the day, if Zelda had like some super badass arrow that I could have, went to Krauser's and bought a burger and got it because there's a code and I would have put it into the game, I would have done that. And so I think that at the basic human emotion, what you're into, if that can be, accelerated by another action, that you're going to do that. And so I do think that people are going to be socially induced to check in. Do I think it's guaranteed? No. Do I think that it's got a lot of upside? Sure I do, because I'm a retailer and I know what people do.
What do you think, Paul?
I think there's two things. I think you're right, coupons win. I think if you're giving somebody a discount, it's bizarre the things that they'll do in order, the hoops they'll jump through, like a performing chimp to get those discounts. So I think definitely there is something in that. I disagree slightly on the game mechanics argument though, because I think things like, if we look at things like Foursquare, which was this huge, was going to be this game changer, and I see now, I always know when something's finally hit the sort of awareness of PR and marketing departments, because now I keep seeing the Foursquare logo where I previously saw the Twitter one. But it's like this idea that just checking in for the sake of it and earning a badge, it isn't working. And like and maybe this is anecdotal, but I know a lot of people who are hardcore social media fans who have sort of dripped away from Foursquare, and I have no reason to think it won't happen with Gowalla unless you bring in these incentives. I think once you bring in incentives, there are people who are obsessed with saving money who will use them. The question is, does it become a mainstream thing? Does like this idea of checking in at a place and telling your friends where you are hit the mainstream? And I think without a very clear reason for doing it, even like loyalty cards, like there's an obvious incentive to use them. But there's a lot of people who just can't be bothered with it all and just can't, and it's, so I think, and like with gaming, there's a lot of people, like Farmville's a great example, there are a lot of people who are obsessed with games. Will it though become a situation where everyone in the world is obsessed with like getting Zelda's new, arrow? I don't know. I
think there's a lot of fragments that lead up to a big number. I don't think anything is every single person in the world. I will say this.
It's a meaningful business though, definitely.
For sure, and I think, it would be, I don't want Paul to be on the wrong side of history, so, because this is being filmed.
Luddites are always on the wrong side of history, Gary, it's fine. I'm just making money while I can, don't worry.
I think it's really interesting, the psychology of what we are. We buy clothes because we want to express ourselves. The more and more we're in the trenches of these computers, which is just happening, the more that becomes our identity. These badges and other things in context can mean something. As an investor in Gowalla, as an investor in Simple Geo, as somebody who tells clients to use these products and use them for my own businesses, I never checked into any of them, because I just don't have a need, because I'm not playing amongst my friends, and there was no layering. Now, I have been like walking out, going to Newtown, take out Facebook and see if there's any little yellow coupon, because why not? For one, I want to learn. I mean, I've asked a lot of college kids, because I like to survey normals, as I call them. I mean, for them—
Old people and college kids.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm really focused on that. Of course they're going to use it if they can save a buck or two, because they need every dollar or two they can get. So I think coupons wins, but I'm very convinced in 5 years from now we're going to be stunned on the commerce that is done in virtual goods or virtual gaming, driving commerce, because I just understand the psychology of that.